Welcome back, questionnaires. You know the voice. I am Julian. My name today is Think Tank. With us, we have Russell, met him on Pod Match, and I know you have a lot to share. Something I think is really important. But before we get into all of that, how was your last 7-ish days?
Oh, they've been great. For the 4th of July, I couldn't believe it. I went up to Lake George, and the Great American Steamboat Company has been around for like 150 years, and they were, instead of $38 on a boat of 600 people with kids running around, it was $55. They fed you, they took you on a tour, and it was 80 adults, no kids allowed, and it was great.
That sounds great.
Oh yeah, so the 250th anniversary, it was right there. I met a guy who was in the Navy and then was retired from being a prison guard at a federal supermax. So that was an interesting evening.
Interesting. For me, how I spent the 4th of July, I actually went to North Carolina with college friends and just spent the weekend on the Outer Banks. It was really nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, yeah. It was really nice. My first time going. We flew kites. People were surprised I had tattoos because we haven't seen each other in so long. Played this game called Locked In that I brought. Everyone enjoyed it. And then I'll also say, even since this is the first episode of season 5, I should tell the audience that in the time that I've been gone, there's just been a lot going on. My brother graduated from high school, graduated in the top 99 percentile. He only got like 2 C's maybe, maybe 2 B's in his whole high school career. So I'm proud of him with that. And there's of course some there's some family drama going on, but family's family. And then I was also doing a fire assignment in Tallahassee a couple weeks ago. So I've had a full eventful life on my on my break.
Yeah, known as the ancient curse, it goes something like this: "May you live in interesting times," or even worse, "May you get what you seek."
Oh, jeez. Yeah, so
I really butchered those pretty bad.
That's fine, but I understand the meaning, and we will see how things turn out with everything. But not to take too much of your time, I know we're all here for a question. Russell, you came up with a great question earlier, and so I wanted to bring it back up to you. What do you think is wrong with the school system?
I'm going to show you what's wrong with the school system. First of all, I want everybody to understand the school system is not trying to be hard on the neurodiverse. They're not. We're just very different. So I want to ask you, before I show you the science, I want you to look back on your education career. So just so everybody knows, how far did you go in your education?
College. I got my bachelor's.
In what?
Civil engineering.
Civil engineering, something that most of us just can't do. I know because I flunked out of engineering with honors. I flunked Calc 1, Calc 2 7 times. All right? So I want you to think back to your education career. And if you did 2 things, and 2 things only, if you planned out your study habits properly, and I mean properly, you need to study so much at certain times to do it the correct way. And that's a lot. Yeah. And then you worked really hard. You either did well to freaking amazing. Sound familiar?
Sounds about right, yeah.
So if you were to go, and anybody depending on their level of success, I'm talking about a gen ed kid with at least 100 IQ, if they planned out their study habits properly and then worked really hard, they were going to do at least okay to something amazing somewhere in there. Sound about right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how many kids actually study properly and work hard all the time? Yeah, it goes up and down. But that's the constraint.
Yeah.
So that's what the school is used to. So this is the top book in the field called Overcoming Dyslexia by Dr. Sally Shaywitz from Yale. All right? That's dyslexia. This is your brain. See this massive neuroactivity back here?
All right. Yes, I do. Can you also explain it just for the listening audience
Sure.
as well?
So the back part of the normal brain, we have this massive, huge neuroactivity. It's going crazy. Now, do you see in the back part of the dyslexic brain, we essentially got nothing?
See? Yes.
But the front part of the dyslexic brain is about 2.5 times overactive.
Yep.
Okay, now, this is how the schools are designed, this back part of the brain. I got nothing, you got crazy going on. You got all this neuroactivity. Okay? Our brains are literally the opposite. So, when you're dealing with a normal person, if they if they have a proper study schedule and they work really hard, they're going to do just fine. If they're generated with at least 100 IQ. Okay? Now, if you're dyslexic, all right, it's not working. So what the school system says is, we're going to accommodate you. Oh, I love that one. Let me show you what a farce that is, these accommodations. I'm going to now accommodate you on a sport. So I need you to tell me what sport you suck at. For me, it's basketball. I'm known as the foreman. I throw so many bricks that I'm not in the union. I run the team of people who throw bricks. I can't even hit the damn backboard. I suck. Okay? What sport do you suck at?
Soccer.
Okay. Now I want you to imagine if your entire financial future depends on how well you play soccer.
I would have a hard future.
Okay. No, but we're going to accommodate you. We're going to get you the best soccer coach on the planet. And he's going to work with you for 8 hours a day, 6 days a week for the next 6 months in an outdoor or indoor arena, depending on the weather. And we're going to get you the best soccer equipment money can buy. And then we're going to have you compete against a gentleman your age who played D1 soccer at university and kept up with it. And we're going to have a competition. Is it going to matter? And we're going to, just to accommodate you even further, we're going to give him used Walmart equipment that should be in the trash. Is it going to make any difference?
No.
Okay. That's because your body was not designed to play soccer. So I'm going to give you a little bit of career advice. If you had this goal of being in the World Cup representing the United States, not happening.
I agree.
Okay. So now let's look at what the dyslexic is. First of all, does dyslexia mean you're not going to succeed? Ever hear this little show called Shark Tank?
I have.
Okay. There are 6 sharks. For the dyslexic population is maybe 5 to 10% of the population. If you add an ADD and ADHD, it's 15 to 20%. But we're talking about dyslexia. 5 to 10% of the population. There are 6 sharks. How many of them are dyslexic?
You hit me with the math problem. I was not prepared for this.
Yes, it's a simple math problem. Dyslexics are maybe 1 in 10 or 1 in 20 people, and there are 6 sharks.
Okay.
How many are dyslexic?
1 in 10. Either there's 6 sharks. Maybe 1, maybe 2.
3. Half.
Okay, I think I misheard you, but okay.
No. Dyslexia makes up a very small percentage of the population, but half the sharks are dyslexic. It's
Okay.
Barbara, Damien, and Mr. Wonderful, the bald guy. Why? Because we freaking excel like crazy in grad school.
Okay.
It's just really hard because what our system says. Do you remember this about our education? Let's go back starting in middle school. We studied history, English, social studies, sciences, and then we did the same thing again in high school. And then the first 2 years in college, we did the same thing again. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
As dyslexics, we freaking hate that. We are academic specialists, not generalists. So let's take the worst case, ADHD. You step 1 foot out of that speciality and the kid crashes. But
Okay.
inside, super motivated. Let me give you an example of how strong this is.
Okay.
Let's say you wanted to. Do you have any interest in President Theodore Roosevelt?
Uh, a little bit. I know he's the one with the big stick mentality.
Okay. Well, what if I told you this was the first of 3 books in a trilogy? This is the biography. All 900 pages of it. This is, if you were interested, this is what you would read. Okay? I gave this to a 10-year-old named Casey. She was reading at the 2nd grade level, and she was interested in Theodore Roosevelt. And I gave her this monster. All 900 pages of it. This is for 10th grade to first year college, depending on who you ask. All at 15 to 18. So she was so motivated in that, and this is, I never saw this before, I'll never see this again. This is a one-off edge case. Kate, and none of the hundreds of teachers I taught will ever see anything like this. I gave Casey a simple way to learn to read. She went up to her room, shut the door for 3 hours a night, every day, for the next 6 months. Most of the days during the summertime, she's putting in 8-10-hour days. At the end of that, you could flip to this random page, point to that random word, and she'll tell you its exact dictionary definition. She jumped 8 grade levels in 6 months. And I worked with her for 15 minutes a week.
Nice.
Casey did this because she was extremely interested in it.
Okay.
Okay? And I'm just giving you that as an example. So you step out of an ADHD speciality, they're not doing a darn thing. Most of she said when we went from something that she loved, from something she hated, her motivation dropped 50%.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
I see.
So most kids will drop 75 to 90%. So let's put that part into reality. I want you to think back into college. I want you to tell me the class that you just freaking hated. The worst darn one you can remember.
English.
What was
without a doubt, English.
Okay.
Yeah.
What grade did you get in the English class?
First time C, second time C minus, second time C, so just enough to pass and move on.
Okay, you had to take 2 of them, right?
Yes.
So would you basically say you decided you were just going to just put in the minimum effort, just take the bad grade and just be done with it, right?
The second time, yes. The first time I definitely wanted to get a higher grade, but that was due to high school and being an AB student. But
right. Now, but what you found is you had to. Why did you take it a second time?
Because I dropped out the class the first time. Because I knew I wasn't gonna get because the C minus I wasn't a passing grade for me. So I'm like, I'd rather just do it again and get a better grade.
Okay, you were willing to go through the hell again to get a better grade. You ended up with a C plus.
Yeah.
Well, if you were ADHD, it would have been 10 times harder, 100 times harder. You would just not want to do it. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get through, because our system is so rooted until we get into our major, and even the major is not much better because it doesn't require you to really think at all. So I want you to think until you get through. Most of us won't get through the first 2 years of college because we freaking hate the gen ed crap so much. Okay, now I'm going to switch it on the other side of that. I want you to think about your favorite class that you had but met this criteria. You had a really hard professor who really worked you, but you loved the class. Do you have one like that?
Oh, yeah.
The other kids hated the professor. He makes me work too hard. Tell me about that experience.
Calc 2 professor was, hard, but he was really drilling in formulas. I couldn't tell you any of the formulas off the top of my head right now, but it's the reason why I even know Calc 2.
Right, but you enjoyed it and you worked really hard?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you had the ADHD kid or the dyslexic kid, what would have happened is they would have outworked you like crazy. And they would be enjoying every minute of it. They would have gone up to the professor and say, come on, egg them on. Can't you make this any tougher?
Mm.
All right. I had a
Gotcha.
kid who was dyslexic, who freaking loved communication. And I forget what the exact one was, but the professor literally wrote the textbook. And he would keep going up to the professor and egging him on, saying, "Come on, I didn't learn enough. What do you got? Come on, give it to me. Hit me with it." And what I didn't tell his parents was I told him to sign up for 6 credits. Because he was going to be devoting like 20 hours a week to this class. The professor finally contacts me. He's like, "What the heck is going on?" He thinks this kid's being facetious. And I said, "No, he went to the university to work with you. He wants to learn." I explained how he's just so... So the professor buried him. And he did everything exceptionally well. And then when it came time, the kid wanted to go in for his PhD. I said, "You want to go to talk to him? You want to work under him?" He's like, "You were the most tenacious little SOB I ever had in any of class I ever taught. And are you going to carry that through for a doctorate?" He's like, "Absolutely." He got it. He got the funding. Took him freaking 6 years to get the doctorate after he graduated. Okay. All right. And now he's a professor at some institution somewhere. He's happy.
Okay.
All right.
That's
But
nice.
but that's how he made his impression. That's what we planned out. So what I'm saying is we are all or nothing. And we don't want to be well-rounded. My kids keep coming to me and they're saying, like, let's say I don't understand this math stuff. And I said, "Okay, here's how you do the math stuff." And they say, "When do you ever use that?" I said, I use this by teaching you how to do this math stuff. I never use this math stuff. All right? I tried being an engineering student like you. My uncle was, he purposely prevented himself from being high school valedictorian and valedictorian at Clarkson University because he didn't want to give a speech.
Fair.
So then he worked for NASA, and you know that when the space shuttle blew up in '86, he was the one who was leading the team figuring out on part of it what went wrong.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, he was one of the top 200 chess players in the country. He was a genius, and I wanted to do what he did. I couldn't do it. So I literally flunked Calc 1 and 2 7 times. I got very good at flunking it, by the way. So what happened is when you're looking at these kids, we are so focused on what we love, but we got to get through these first 2 years, of college.
I see what you're saying. For me, I would say, and I didn't mean to interrupt you or anything here.
Oh, no, that's fine. I'm just saying that's the big difference. If you go to a public school and you say, "Let's get rid of all this well-rounded stuff and let me just focus on math or science or whatever," they won't do it.
Okay. That's really good to know. For me, mind you, I have not thought about this question at all. Like, it's been complete blank. What I think is wrong with the school system is that it kind of in the same vein that you're talking about, that it doesn't focus on kids' way of learning. So what I mean by that is, like, I'm a visual and hands-on learner. I know some people are you can just tell them the instructions and they can go. I think the school systems only cater to one type of learning. So where if you don't, you are kind of have to force yourself to do tests and everything, even though that's not your specialty, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. I found a way of summarizing. It's called being married to the library. No, think about it. Think about any teacher you ever had. They give you all this stuff, and it pretty much means you go to the library and you're married to it.
Yeah. And that's the other thing that you have to is more focused on memorization than actual practical use.
Yes, and let's take what you do. Okay, so in the area of artificial intelligence, this is just what got me. What year did you graduate from high school?
2021.
I graduated in 1992. What's changed?
Uh,
For engineering science specifically.
engineering science.
For the first two, do you know how the first 2 years is the same for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. What's changed in the past 30 years and in the first 2 years?
The internet is faster with AI and everything. That's the first thing that pops into my mind. Where you
Essentially nothing. CAD's more advanced. What's changed in engineering science since my uncle got his back in the early 60s?
What's changed? I'm not sure. I'm stumped. What's changed?
Nothing. We're still taking 2 a chem, 4 physics, 4 calc.
Yep.
We're still doing that.
Yep.
Now, where you working? Are you using the AI to be more effective, more efficient?
Not currently, but it's trickling in. I'm starting to see it come in more and more.
Okay. Are you ready for me to tell you how to use AI, then how we have to fix the school system so they can use it?
Yeah.
Okay. This is and I've talked to educators about this. So just so everybody knows, the first project I did, I was funded by the New York State Senate. I put a bunch of dyslexic high school kids in a public school. They went from they're super intelligent, super motivated, so I'm only dealing with the best. They went from middle school writing skills as juniors and seniors to average range of entering grad students. Cost less than $900. Their GPAs when they went to college, 2.5 to 3.6, no accommodations. 3x more successful than the best dyslexic college, less than 1% of the cost. That was my starting point, okay? Mm-hmm. So when I'm talking to policymakers on this, I said, it's really simple. Let's take an example of a teacher. And I'm from New York State, so our teachers have 2-year master's degrees. They have usually hundreds of people have applied for their jobs they've got, and I'm assuming they're there for 5 years. So this is what they do each year. They get like 20 to 30 kids that come into class. They got to be at some place at the end of the year. None of the kids is going to get there without not being able to do it for some reason. They got to figure that out for each kid, and they get most of them generally where they're supposed to be. All right? So the example that I like to give when you're working with AI now, and this started around November, December of last year, okay? We don't do work anymore. The AI does the work. We have to know in our fields what good looks like, and then when it's not good, how to fix it. And most of the time, we can't explain it. We just know.
Yep, I'm definitely dealing with that right now.
So I want you to think about, let's just take it for what you're doing. You have an engineering problem. Mm-hmm. Your output's going to be a report. Okay? So I generally use, I'm a $200 a month Claude member, okay? Let's say you're using the new Fable 5 model. You just go to it and say, I'm looking for this is what I'm looking for, go get me a report. And when it comes back, you look it over, I don't like A, B, C, D, E, F, I need this fixed, go fix it. And then you do that until it's fixed, and then you polish it up and you send it in. Okay? If you don't know what good looks like and then how to fix it, you can't do this.
That's
so when
true.
this is the mistake the educational system is having. Oh, we're going to use ChatGPT in this, and we're going to use Opus in that. It doesn't matter, because if you don't know what good looks like and then how to fix it, you can't be effective working with AI.
That's very true. Yeah. That actually sparks a different question of mine then. Do you think AI does more to help or hinder learning?
Oh, I tell my kids, I don't want you using AI in school until I teach you how to do advanced body paragraphs, or the parents teach them how to do advanced body paragraphs. Okay, here's the example, because you're going to know this. This is one of the defining things in my education. It was the fall of 1992. I'm in calculus-based physics. Okay. Freshman, first semester, you know what it was like.
Yeah.
My professor taught at worked at NASA. All right? And I had a $300 graphical calculator with 8 megabytes of memory. Yeah, you're jealous. All right? And I could put all the formulas in there. And one of the kids says, well, the rich kids, I'm not rich, my parents just saved their money for this sort of stuff. My dad spent $300 on that thing. Poorer kid said, we don't have any money. We can't afford that. The rich kids can put them in the calculator. Can we bring in a sheet of paper to write out the formulas so we don't have to remember them so it's fair? The professor said, you know what? For those who want it, you can come to my office. Instead of 3 hours for the exam, I'll give you 8. You can bring your textbook. You can bring your notebooks. You can bring any freaking book you want. 2 limitations. You can't bring a cell phone, and you can't bring Uncle Bob. Okay? Now, he said if this was a history class and you didn't get 100 with that, what's wrong with you? But he said this is not history. This is calculus-based physics. If you can't apply what you've learned to a novel situation, you will flunk.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's what happened. So if you can't apply what you've learned to novel situations, you're done.
I do agree. Yeah, I truly do agree.
And you can do that. Now, I want you to think back to when you started. Your first class, engineering, chemistry, calc, doesn't matter. Do you remember all the kids who were really smart? Because you can't get into engineering college unless you're really smart. And then they just couldn't apply. They were good parents, but they couldn't apply it. So where is this leading us? If you can't, if you don't know what good looks like and how to fix it, then you're not going to be an effective worker. And what they're fighting, they're like, I love it when educators tell me, well, there's no way to tell us how to do that. I said, yeah, it's only been out for 31 years and sold over 1 million copies. And they're like, what? I said, a book called The Craft of Research from the University of Chicago that teaches you how to do your doctoral dissertation. Context, unique problem statement, solution. What we need to do is to get the kids through a unique problem statement.
I agree, because for my answer with the whole AI, if AI helps or hinders, I think it hinders more than it helps for sure. Because kind of like what you're saying, it kind of takes away the thought process of solving a problem in unique situations.
Well, for example, I'm doing that all the time. Let me give you an example. I had a client of mine. He runs an accounting firm. I worked with his kid. It's a small accounting firm. He pays mid-level, and he needs to hire 2 more people. And a partnership track means nothing. They want money, which he can't pay. So I figured out, and just why the problem statement is so important. Ever hear of this company called Google AI?
Yeah, heard of
The
it.
head of that on a podcast a couple of months ago said the biggest problem they have is coming up with a problem statement. Where if you come up with the right problem statement and answer it, you move things forward a lot. It's right there in the craft of research, but it's top down. I go from the bottom up and I connect with it. So I created a process like that so I could say to the AI what I think it is, and then it comes back and says, no, here's what it should be. And then I have it do research, and then I write up a report based on that. So I sent it to him after I edited it, and it really made it look good. And he's like, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I had another podcast I was on. They sent me a referral of a person who is very deep in the publishing industry. I mean, senior as heck. They want to give away a book on cancer. No idea how to do it. I did the same thing and sent it back. They sent a back report. They said, that's exactly what I was looking for. And then they came up with a few ideas, and I sent another one saying, here's how to actually do it better. Okay? So I take my kids through a unique problem statement. Okay? And people say, well, is it just dyslexia? I said, no, the most advanced kid I'm working with is Grayson. He's 10 years old, reading at the 12th grade level. His content is third-year college. He wants to get his PhD to work at NASA to terraform Mars. So his stuff that I create custom to him is from peer-reviewed journal articles on transforming Mars. He's learning all of that. Everything that's ever been written that's out, we're showing him until he can come up with a unique problem statement. We're starting to show him that skill set. It'll take years, okay? Mm-hmm. And once we're done, then we hook him up to a senior professor. And I can tell you they will be very interested with a proper problem statement, because that'll lead right into him publishing. Which really means he'll be doing all the work and putting their name first.
Mm-hmm. Such as life.
Oh, no. That's the price of admissions. I said you ask for a senior person, and then you ask their names goes first. You go and do all the work. You learn how to do it. I'm like, the ideas aren't hard to come up with once you know how to do it. Mm-hmm. And then you just keep going. But you need to get that's the price of admissions. Nobody's demanding it. It's just the easiest way of doing it. So we have to switch we have to literally stop this stuff. Because remember, all the way through your first 2 years of college, being an engineer, hasn't changed in the past 60 years. Mm-hmm. Not really. No. It's been updated, but it hasn't functionally changed. What changed between my uncle and me is I had CAD. He didn't. Computer-aided design. You have more advanced CAD.
Yep.
But it hasn't changed. We have to accelerate so much faster because we're going into a K-shaped economy.
You said a K-shaped economy?
Yes. We're going to go in. Those who can do it are going to, if you really know AI and you're really that productive, you can go in and make 200, 400,000 a year.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
If you're not, that's why, 40% of the recent college grads aren't getting college grads jobs? Mm-hmm. I mean, seriously, you have, you said AI's just seeping in now. What are they wanting you to use it to do right now?
It's, I still work with the government, so it's kind of more, if the government wants it, it will be forced down, so it's not really, implemented yet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the government's really slow, but are they wanting you to use it at all?
Not really. There's mainly for sorting files and everything, but nothing practical.
You mean the stuff it could have done 2 years ago?
Exactly, but nothing or it's dealing with real world solutions to get a faster solution. At least where I'm at right now.
I'll give you an example. I had a kid who was I can't go into details, but they said they're having a hard time with the first assignment. It was they wanted a book about 150 pages to do something. And I said, I don't have a freaking idea how to do any of this stuff. I just sent it over. They got permission, signed off from the supervisor, because they're curious and how long. They said, we'll see you in about a month? I said, see you in about 5 hours. They're like, huh? I ran it through my system. Because I'm dyslexic, I came up with 3 editing modes. Catastrophic mode that says what should be here, but it's not. And I run that through literally 15 times. Okay. And I'm using Opus 4.8 set at maximum thinking. Then it's what's the max correction mode? What are things that are here that we can improve, and then just to polish it up. And then I run it through. I use ChatGPT to turn it into a nice looking PDF. Okay. I just did that while I do 3 things at once. I was doing 2 other things. Ran it through, sent it over, and they came back, and the supervisor said, "What the bleepity bleep. This is at 85 to 90% being publishable ready." I said, I don't really know what the answer was, and no, I didn't really look at it. I have a system that tells me what this should be correct at that level. And they said, well, the changes we need to make are maybe this paragraph should be moving to the next paragraph. Maybe we can expand it. I mean, it varies what professional editors do. And they said, this is good work. I said, yeah, I can crank that out all day. And by the way, my student generally knows how to do it once you give them some practice. Well, it was that. So that's where I'm just trying to say where the world is going. I know nothing about this stuff, and yet I can crank out a good report in that time frame. Now, if you give me access to Fable 5 to double check it, I can. It pushes the 90% one instead of 85. But our school system won't get out from what it's been doing. So I'm 52. So when you're my age and they're still doing the same nonsense and wondering why half the kids can't get jobs because 30 years from now, when Elon Musk has robots replacing everybody at McDonald's, this is the change we have to make. It has to be much more individualized and not so much more broad-based.
I like that. I want to give you a challenging question. What I think is challenging. We've been talking about what's wrong with the school system. What do you think the school system gets right?
All right, this is what shocks people. What's your local school? What's your local school?
My local school here in Atlanta, I'm not sure, but I know back home it's like Sable Palm, Landmark, River City, things like that.
Okay, give me the high school. Give me a high school that you know really well.
All right, River City.
River City. Okay. Describe River City. How many students in a grade? Tell me just generally about the kids.
All right, generally high school about, let's just say, I don't know, 400 people. Pretty small charter school.
400 total. How many per grade? About 100.
About 100, yeah.
Okay, so I want you to think. Let's say you don't work for the government.
Okay.
You worked for SpaceX and you just had an IPO, and let's say wave of the magic wand. After Uncle Sam, you're worth $100 million.
I like the sound of that.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Now let's say you want to go back to that. You want to know what we do right.
Yeah.
Go back to that high school, and I want you to go to the department that put on plays. And you're going to go to the teacher, and you're going to say you're going to have the students as an extra project. They're going to write a play, they're going to direct it, and they're going to put it on, and you're going to front them $100,000.
Okay.
You will be shocked at how good of a job they do. Now, if you want to see freaking amazing, I went to school at SUNY Center at Buffalo. People came to their performance center driving BMWs and Mercedes, occasional Ferrari, and they weren't going because they knew the kids. They were going because they were that good. So when you're talking about the creativity, what our schools do extraordinarily well is coming up with creative ideas.
I do agree.
They do that better, bar none. So you might say, well, who are the other top schools? It's South Korea, and it's like Norway or Sweden or one of those northern states that tend to have, they say, the best education. Our kids are so much more creative. That's what we do. We do very badly at the rest of it. Now, if you look at our institutions of higher education, we are not known for good schools. We are not known for good colleges. We are known worldwide for the best damn graduate programs on the planet. That's what we're good at. All right?
That's
just the sheer number. I mean, England has Cambridge, Oxford, and London School of whatever. You know, we outdo just the Ivy League, Stanford, Chicago, University of Chicago. I mean, we just have and we are so much better funded than any place else.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't even think about that, because my answer is, I would say out of everything that the school gets wrong, one positive thing that they get right is that it's a great way to build, become social and knowing how to interact with the world and making friends and everything. I think that's what they do right, is gives kids the ability to be with peers.
Yeah, it's when I did that, I ended up going to Scouts, got my Eagle.
Same. I did get my Eagle.
How old were you?
1 month before I turned 18. Oh no, my bad. I said 1 month. 3 days before I turned 18. I forgot.
Okay, you beat me. I was a Star Scout at 13. I got my life, which is the second rank below legal, when I was 17. Yeah, it was. I was doing a merit badge a weekend. Okay, so I had a couple of clients, and I will have to say this about BSA because I think this is important for education. When BSA brought girls in because there was what we call the baby bust. Right after the Great Recession, the birth rate dropped like crazy, so they brought the girls in. That was such a disastrous mess. But what they did is, just so you know, we've had some bad things happen in gymnastics, which I'm not going into, but they were horrible. All right. So now we have something called safe sport. Okay. It's kind of common sense. If you're a guy driving anybody besides your daughter home, or somebody where you're the guardian, if there's another girl in the car, you have to have a woman. It's just common sense stuff.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, so but what I found when they were doing that is, if you were on a Boy Scouts or on a girls' gymnastics team, same gender, it hardly ever affected the kids between kids, but mixed gender became a real issue. So I had boys that would come to me and say, well, I kind of want to know what it's like to be around girls. And I said, great, join Boy Scouts. And they're like, excuse me? I said, there's normally sister troops. Now, you're going to be separated, but when they would go to camp, what they would do is put boys on one side, girls on the other, and they'd have mixed adults in the middle. And anybody breaking the rules, you're sent home immediately. There's zero tolerance. But they were as inclusive as possible. You go to other youth sports, and they're still back segregation all over the place. And that's why I had kids who wanted to join sports where they were more co-ed, and I was like, yeah, what you want to do is stay in your current sport, and when you go to college, then join. So you don't have to, because it has crushed some of my more sensitive kids.
Gotcha.
But Scouts allowed them to interact, and believe me, the supervision was there, but within the rules, they were as inclusive as possible, because good grief, they didn't have the first girl in there until you were still in elementary school when that happened. It's still pretty recently. And what I found is those who went through, you know what an Eagle's like. Wait, you're what, 25 now? 26?
I'm 27. My birthday's coming up soon, but yeah.
When did they stop bugging you about being an Eagle in anything? The military kept on me until I was in my 20s, early 20s. They kept calling me.
Really? As soon as it was actually not really a big thing for me. I got my Eagle, went to college, and after college, it was like, it never.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't come up when you were applying for the federal government?
It did not.
Oh my goodness! When I can tell you what happened when I was looking for positions. I would go in, and I'd talk to the guy, and he'd look down. You're an Eagle, and they don't believe me. And then I would tell them, he's like, what about the project? And then they'd say, oh, I made it to Star. I made it to Life. I never made it. And then we just talked about my project until, I cleaned up a beach. Got rid of the seaweed and everything. Yeah, it was fun. So we talked to that. I talked about how I dealt with the state environmental agency, all the reports I had to write. And they would say, I took up the interview time of the next 4 to 10 people. I'm not joking. And then I got it and they didn't even ask. They said, if you can handle a project, you can handle our stuff. And it's kind of like a rite of passage that I found.
I will say that because it does feel great, because I actually built a bell tower, which is part of the reason why I'm even in the civil engineering world. So I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to do. So no, I get that.
Well, no, but here's what happens if I recommend the people for your educational system. Get your Eagle, boy or girl, okay? Get your Eagle, because let's say you're applying for a position. You did something for the community. something for a non-for-profit to enhance the community. Yeah, I designed it. I did the paperwork. I had to supervise dozens of people day in, day out for weekends on the time to get it done. And I can come in here, I can design the process, I know how to work with people, I know how to do the paperwork, because I did it when I was a teenager. That's what gets you the job.
Well, my dad, thank you, because he definitely forced me to get my Eagles. So.
Well, think about it, like going back to the school system. Well, we want our kids to be well-rounded. Here's the other thing that drives me nuts. We want kids to be STEM. I said, you're looking at somebody who flunked Calc 1 and 2 7 freaking times. There are very few percentages of... what percentage do you think of a high school class, despite who wants to, who has the intellectual capacity to get a 3.0 or higher, is an engineering student in any engineering at a real university? What do you think that percentage is?
I'm going on the low end, maybe 12%.
Yeah, I think that, I may even think that's generous. It's not that much. So they keep pushing all this STEM stuff. All right, and I'd be like, okay, let me tell you about one of my clients and how I got him around this crazy school system. His name was Adam. He was the second kid I worked with. He flunked out. He was held back twice. He was a 19-year-old senior going on 20. Okay. And all his teachers said, he's a freaking genius. Have you met people like that? You just know they're Einstein and make you look like nothing?
Oh, yeah.
That was Adam. Came from a very financially challenged family. They were so financially challenged that his mom said, well, he can't do the work because his butt hurt. Because the chair sucked. So I went, and I said, okay, well, I'll put this nonsense away. Number one, his teacher said he was the smartest and most motivated kid for years. All right, I went to Walmart, and I just went for the cheapest student chair I could find, and it was even made in China, okay? $15, and I bring it over to him. He just put it together, and he started putting in 5-hour sessions on Saturday. Okay? I mean, he said literally that chair changed his life. I'm like, it was a $15 cheapest piece of... I thought his mom was joking, but she wasn't. So I showed him how to jump his writing to the 70th percentile of entering grad students. I showed him how to read better than kids at Harvard.
Nice.
And then he goes on, he gets his associate's degree then he goes and joins the union. And they do that like the school system boiler things. So they had, he was on vacation. They had one that they couldn't figure out, so they had him come in. He was there for a day and a half. He said, sorry it took me so long. You know what? They said they couldn't figure it out for over a month. See what I mean by just knowing what looks good and what is right and when it's not, how to get it? That's what he knew. That's what the craft of research teaches you to do.
Nice. I like that. I know we're running out of time because we're getting close to this hour, but there's one more question that I want to ask you before I give you the floor. I gave you my answer earlier, but how do you like to learn? How do you like to learn?
Just so you know, my learning, I'm a history guy. Okay. So how do I like to learn? I like listening to audiobooks.
Okay.
And my two favorite narrators are George Gradell and Dean. Okay?
Okay.
And I like to listen, then I like to visit the place, and then I like to figure out what's going on. And then that allows me to understand what's going on today. Like, for example, not to get political, but my opinion is whoever the president of the United States is has one job: to prevent China from invading Taiwan. Why? Because 90% of the advanced chips are there. We're trying to spread it out around the world, but it'll never fully happen. Not in my lifetime. Why does China want to do it? Because that's where the nationalists left, and that they still haven't ended World War II, essentially. That's still going on. If they invade, remember that Great Recession we had back in 08, 09? Do you remember that at all?
I don't remember it in the sense of I didn't know what was going on, but I have some memories back then.
Well, it would be twice as bad as that. Okay? So what I get by studying all this history and keeping up with what's going on, I get a better sense at when people say, well, I think, because remember, when you're talking on like Wall Street, one good insight that nobody else has, and that's what it takes to really do well. And they're like, well, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. I said, nope, it's going to be most likely this. Here's why. Here's the historical reason. Da, 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 da. They're like, we have people at think tanks that aren't that. And like, this is just something I just keep up with for fun, though. Huh? So I like to learn so I can see what's going on. My idea of fun, yeah, I'm a dyslexic nerd. I like going to soirees where I talk to smart people about current events.
Interesting.
Okay. And that's the audio. I can read. I try to avoid it. I'm working with the AI. I'm like, tell this to me concisely. I don't want all this stuff. All right?
That makes a lot of sense. But that is roughly the time that I asked for. This was such a great episode. The floor is yours. You can share, promote anything you want.
Okay. What I just want you to know is if you're dealing with a dyslexic kid, what you need to do is focus on their speciality, their area of extreme interest and ability. Teach them not from the general to the specific, but a specific point, and then go out. Word analysis followed by articulation, because that's a different part of their head. If you're interested, you just visit us at dyslexiaclasses.com with an S, dyslexiaclasses.com with an S. And there's a button there that says download free guide. Click on that, answer 3 questions. It's a half an hour. I can go over things with your kids, see if this is what they're interested in. And if they are, we can show you how to do this in an affordable way. And yes, it is to have the parents teach the kids, because hiring outside tutors, it costs literally hundreds of dollars an hour for years and years and years. It doesn't stop. So that we want to show you how to fix it so you can actually, still afford things for your other kids. So they can, do things like scouts or gymnastics or whatever.
And that is why I really wanted you on this episode, because what you have to say I think is really important, and I think anyone could use it, especially with a dyslexic kid, and the fact that you're trying to make it affordable for parents too. That is why I really wanted you on my show. So hopefully anyone who's listening to this gives your website. Please say it again.
It's dyslexiaclasses.com. All right. And that's with an S, dyslexiaclasses.com. And all you do is there's a link there that says download free guide, a button. Answer 3 questions. You'll get a guide on dyslexia. And then just the most important thing is set up a time to actually speak with me for half an hour. Doesn't cost anything. We can walk you through what your concerns are.
Thank you, Russell. I'll make sure that is in the description too, so anyone can click it and go straight to you, and hopefully help anyone who needs it.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. And before you go, I like to do a thing. My thing is always a quote, because I've just been collecting quotes for years now. So, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm reading it right off my phone, so it's not like I memorized this or anything. But it comes from Charlemagne the God, and the quote is, "If you're not willing to learn, no one can help you. If you're determined to learn, no one can stop you."
Yeah, you just have to get around the system if you're dyslexic. My return quote was from a guy, this is my most requested book. Walt Disney, The Triumph of the American Imagination, all 1,000 pages. Why? Mm-hmm. Because kids go to Disney World and they love it. And I said, do you want to learn to think like Disney? And they're like, yeah, there's 2 universal themes. And I show them in that book. And what he said, I think it was 62 or 63. And this is a paraphrase, but it's close. He says it's fun doing the impossible.
That I agree.
All right. It allows you to leave your mark on this world. Now, in your 20s, what I can tell you is you're just starting. All right, you're going through things, you're having fun. I'm in my 50s. This is the time. This is the decade of my life when we're the most productive. And I know, I look across my friends who said, I had my kid, I raised my family. Nobody will ever remember what I ever did. And it's gutting them. Okay? You're my 327th podcast since I joined Podmatch 14 months ago. All right? My message is getting out there. So just try to figure out what you want to do to leave your mark. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. A lot of people I know who are really happy they found something they were passionate about from a charity-wise. And they got on a board of a charity, and they helped raise money, because that's what you do when you're on a board. And they helped help the succeeding generations. You've made it to being an engineer in the federal government. There's a lot of other people that would like to do that are coming up. What can you do to help them meet that dream? Something to think about.
You've left me with something to think about for sure. With that, I will give you the close off. Something I like to say at the very end of the show is don't forget to ask yourself, ask others, and never stop asking questions. See ya.
Exactly right. Thanks for having me.